Greetings, my friends. Welcome to the Real Talk Show with Dr. India White. I'm so excited to be here among you guys today. I hope you have had a phenomenal week. I hope life is treating you well. I hope you've been able to make time for yourself and be productive. With that said, I'm just glad to be here on the show. So I want to talk that's been going on. But before I dive into the show, I just want to let you know that I care, you matter, and that we're in this together. So continue to be strong, continue to make impact. You are needed exactly where you are. And so with that said, let's get going. So first things first, welcome to the Real Talk Show with Dr. India White. A couple of announcements. First off, the Real Talk Show with Dr. India White will be aired on the radio station SoulNet WKDH every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please tune in to SoulNet WKDH to hear more. You can hear various segments that have already been aired. I'm so thankful to Ken and to Tisha and everybody on the team for that amazing opportunity. Also, I wanted to remind you guys to please make sure that you are following me on social media so that we can continue to connect for common causes, whether it's education or finances or relationship or religion or leadership or anything else. Let's get connected. Let's see how we can partner together. Also, if you want to be featured on the show, please make sure you're sending your photo and a bio to india.white.123@gmail.com. Okay. And then I'll be able to get you scheduled. Please also make sure that you are, if you are following me on social media, that you're looking at the various social media handles that I provided for you guys. So on my Facebook, it's Miss India White. LinkedIn is The India White. Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach. Instagram is Indie238. And YouTube is India White 123. So please join me. Let's connect. Follow me on social media, and I'll follow you back. Next, the Real Talk Show. It will also be aired on Swain Girl Media Channel, hosted by Precious Swain on Firestick, and it's also going to be live, also where you can hear it as a podcast. So I'm super excited about that. Thank you, Precious, and congratulations to you and the great work that you're doing. Now, let's keep going. If you've not had a chance, please check out my website, www.india-white.com. Some of you have reached out to me regarding speaking opportunities and other opportunities to support you. And so if you want to look at some books or you would need some of my services, you can go to www.india-white.com and you'll find those services there. Now, I also wanted to make a quick announcement before I got into my show about another book collaboration I'm honored to be a part of called Equal and Dignity. The book launch is May 3rd. Thank you, Rayal, and to your wonderful team in Canada for this phenomenal opportunity. So please make sure you are checking that out. Equal and Dignity book launch. It will be on May 3rd. I will send out more information once it becomes available. We're super excited. Thank you to all those that are supporting. If you'd like a copy of the book, please just send me an email, india.white.123@gmail.com, and I'll make sure to get you one. I'll be speaking in California second week of May. So please keep in touch to find out more information on that. Now, there's so much going on regarding our children and how we can serve our students and meet their needs. And so I felt like it was only right for me to talk about a particular part of that. I don't want to get into, any hot topics just for the sake of keeping, I guess, peace on my show. So with that said, I want to talk to you about preparing your students for success. And in particular, I'm going to be looking at students in high school. Why am I doing this? Well, because I can tell you that just from everyday ins and outs as an educator, as a mother, I can see that there are so many parents that they just don't know how to meet the needs of the learner. And every learner is different. So this is why we must prepare students for success after high school. Success might be college, success might be military, success might be running a successful business. I don't know what success looks like for your child, but if you are a parent, this show is for you. Or if you're an educator and you're assisting parents, this show is for you. So I found that in my years of teaching and in administration that students had so much ambition and a desire to be successful as adults, and they did not have the slightest clue as to how to begin their journey. So what I would have is I would have students with, acceptable GPA 3.0 and higher that wanted to enroll in college and they waited too late. They missed the deadline. Or students that they had the deadline, they had college, but they didn't have enough money. So then they wind up working at your local Winn-Dixie, Walmart, Burger King, whatever, because they weren't equipped for college financially. I also had situations where the students were ready, they had scholarships, but they hadn't filled out the FAFSA. So their parents didn't know what to do. Some students, their parents didn't speak English. So, of course, we had to provide the appropriate accommodations and needs for those particular families. And so I felt like it was only right to come on the show to leave some nuggets to help you with preparing students for success after high school. And so I'm going to first talk about some statistics that I found very, very interesting that do impact all of us nationwide. First off, education is imperative for us, right? Because it affects everything that we do. So nationwide, right now, I found some of these statistics online. This one here says that nationwide, on average, 79% of adults are literate. Only 79. So 21% of people cannot read in 2022. This was from thinkimpact.com. So they found that 21% of adults can't read. Okay. They also found that 54% of adults, they have a literacy or reading level below 6th grade. Okay. The low levels of literacy, y'all, are costing the United States 2.2 trillion with the T dollars per year. This is because we're having a problem with literacy in our nation. So it's not just the learners, it's also adults. And that's over half of adults. So you got to start thinking, we've got to start thinking, how can we make this number decrease and get some of those funds, some of that 2.2 million or trillion, excuse me, back into resourceful places to help our nation. They also found that on average, nationwide, 66% of 4th grade children in the United States could not read at proficiency in 2013. That was before the COVID slide. So very interested to see what those numbers look like now. But they did find, however, some things they did find. They found that the state that had the percentage of adults that were considered literate or that could read, the highest percent of readers came from New Hampshire versus the state with the lowest adult literacy was California. I found that very interesting. That New Hampshire had the most, California had the lowest adult literacy rate. I mean, when I think of California, I mean, you're thinking of Hollywood, Los Angeles. You're not really thinking of the entire state. But here are the facts, they're there. So we definitely have to start seeing what we can do as a nation to help to decrease these numbers and to also prepare students for higher education or for life after college. Students deserve to be set up for success no matter what that looks like. ThinkImpact.com also found that on average, we already said that 66% of students couldn't read, but I also found another fact here that says 3.7 million students are projected to have graduated from high school in the 2018 and 2019 school year. including 3.3 million students from public schools, okay, and zero point 0.4 million from private schools. So, I mean, that looks good, right? That you do have students graduating, but at the same time, we've got to start looking at those numbers to see what percentage of that includes all learners. So, another thing I wanted to share with you guys now that we're shifting our focus towards students that are in high school preparing for college, we've got to start looking at how are we using the funding? How much funding is being allocated for students in our K-12 schools, right? Because if we can see how much funding is being allocated, we can see what resources and services we would need to provide to help all learners so that we can increase the amount of learners that are graduating from high school. So I did some digging in NCES, which is the National Center of Education Statistics. They said that $667 billion are the total current expenditures in public, elementary, and secondary schools for 2018-2019 school year. So that means we're spending $667 billion on students across the nation. And that was in 2018-2019. So we've got the funding. We just have to make sure that we're allocating those funds appropriately to meet the needs of all learners. Now, another interesting, I'm looking at some interesting things here. I also want to talk about college enrollment and what that looks like in different states. So in general, NCES found that the college enrollment in the fall of 2020, okay, it was 19.4 million students. That was 8% lower, okay, than the fall of 2010 when the enrollment was at its peak in our nation. So again, the college enrollment rate is decreasing. I mean, there are so many different things we could point to say this is why students are not enrolling in college at a faster pace. I mean, you've got we're all dealing with, the unfortunate situation with the pandemic. You also had some students that, got, maybe they became entrepreneurs, maybe they invested and, found their way in that. There are so many different things that could attribute to why students enrollment rate is decreasing across the nation when it comes down to enrolling in college. Looking here, I was able to look and see even in Arizona, there's some things. So in Arizona, it says a post-secondary attainment report from the Arizona Board of Regents found that out of 73,400 high school students who graduated in 2020, only 46.3 enrolled in college. And that was from the Inside Higher Education report. So that's a pretty steep number to deal with. Almost only half, right? Not even half enrolled in college. And that was in Arizona. And so I start thinking to myself, how can we equip parents? Because sometimes, parents are so busy that senior year with all of the activities, sports, work, so much that it's hard to juggle. And it's hard to make sure that the students have prepared themselves completely. And we trust our babies, right? We trust our children. We ask them if they have homework. They say no. We trust them. We ask if they've done everything they're supposed to do. We say yes. They say yes. We trust them. And sometimes parents, I'm just making a call for parents in this show to be a little bit more proactive in checking to make sure your child is really college and career ready, like they said they are. Because I found that even, in my days as an administrator, students would look you dead in the eyes and they were not telling the truth, or they thought they had everything and they really didn't. And so just making sure that you're checking that and you're holding them accountable will really help seal the deal for graduation and for being prepared for college or career readiness after high school. Here's another fact here. So 63.1% of students in Florida enrolled in college after high school. The highest enrollment rate was for Connecticut, and they had 78.7% of students enroll in college after high school. Now, yes, college is an opportunity that everyone can take, but is it the best opportunity for everyone? We've seen possibly not. Some students are ready to go into the military. Some students are ready to take up a trade. Some students are ready to open their business. That's fine. Are they prepared? The thing is, are they prepared for life? Are they prepared for college and career success? So, how do you ensure that students can become prepared no matter where they are in their learning? If they have a 2.0, are they ready for life? If they have a 5.8 GPA, are they ready for life? Or, I don't care what their GPA is. What I care about is when they turn 18, 19, they're an adult, they're finishing high school. Are they ready? Are they competent? Are they set up for stability in this life so that they're not just sitting at home and regretting that they're not in college, or regretting that they didn't open that business, or regretting that they didn't start that trade? So, hopefully, parents, by the end of the show, you will be able to take the steps that you need to make sure that your child is equipped for college after high school, and spread the word to other parents as well. Now, let's keep going with these facts. So, back to the National Center of Education Statistics, they found that in 2019, there were 2 million status dropouts between students of the ages of 16 and 24. And the overall status dropout rate was 5.1%. So 2 million students dropped out of school in 2019. So I don't know about you, but that to me is concerning and alarming. And it's something that, we as leaders have to see, where was the ball dropped? How can we help our students? Because, something went awry for 2 million people. Now, the next stat here, also NCES, they speak about how in 2019, the status dropout rate was actually higher for males 16 to 24 years old compared to females 16 to 24-year olds. So I guess for the male, your typical traditional male, the dropout rate was 6% versus the female's dropout rate was 4.2%. And sometimes students feel pressured that they have to make money, they have to provide for their families. Some students are getting married. There's so many different things going on that can contribute to this statistic here. But we have to be mindful as to how we can really help our students to set them up for success. I had a student, a wonderful young man who very, very high GPA, but just was not ready for college because they did not understand the paperwork process. So we had to actually meet with the family and help walk them through the FAFSA, walk them through all these other different things so that they could be equipped for college. Thankfully, we were able to get that student enrolled in college, and that student is successfully living their life. But that's one out of so many students, that need that help. And this is why I'm having this podcast or this show today, because I know there are many parents in the audience that you just don't know, right? You're trusting that the school will do all of the heavy lifting. But I'm here to inform you that sometimes you as a parent, there are certain things that you have to do to ensure your child's success. So we will walk through these steps together to make sure that you are equipped and that your child will be successfully enrolled either in college, trade school, starting their business, whatever it is that they aspire to do to be successful citizens in society. Now, we spoke about tips and stuff. So I want to share some tips that I have as well for you. So, some tips when you're preparing your students for college. Tip number 1, and this is tips from India. Meet with your teachers to discuss the academics and the behavior of your child. Now, it's not enough, I don't think, to meet with the teacher, an open house, and then assume that the next time you have to meet with them is in May and that everything's going to be fine. I can tell you that there will be glitches and that there will be misunderstandings that you will definitely have to clean up. And if you wait till May, you might wait too late. So I would highly recommend that if you're a parent, to meet with your child's teacher regularly, at least once a quarter. If there are 4 quarters in the year, you need to have a meeting at least once a quarter with the teachers, guidance counselor. If you need to meet with administration, meet with administration. You need to do whatever it takes to meet the needs of your child, because no one is a stronger advocate than you are for your child. And when it comes down to their learning and their experience, in education. Oh, excuse me. So you need to make sure that you are meeting with your teachers. The meetings, sometimes you might have to email. Hi, I would like to set up a meeting for my child. This is my availability this week or next week. If they don't answer back, go visit the school and advocate again. When you're meeting, know what to talk about. Are you going to talk about their grades? Are you going to talk about their behavior? Are you going to talk about their other needs, emotional needs, and things like that, which that is all a part of the learning experience, because it's all about building the whole child, right? So you're going to have to talk with maybe a guidance counselor. Maybe they have to come in and tell you what's going on. Maybe there are certain things about your child you didn't have a clue about. And maybe they're able to kind of fill you in on some things. And then you can develop a plan with the teachers and guidance counselors and administrators and leaders to figure out how you can help that child be successful in every area. Now, the next thing you want to do is make sure, excuse me, oh my goodness, make sure your child, make sure your child has filled out the FAFSA. So when I say FAFSA, you need to visit www.fafsa.ed.gov. Listen, parents, children don't do all this on their own. They're going to have you help them with this, because there's a particular section of the FAFSA which you have to tell what your income is. Did you file taxes? Do you plan on filing? Things like that, because then they can allocate how much you can receive federally to help your child be successful in school, whether it's a Pell Grant or whatever. There's so many different options. So, yes, fill out the FAFSA. So, make sure you fill out the FAFSA. So, visit www.fafsa.ed.gov and set up an account. If you're struggling with filling out the FAFSA, parents, then meet with the guidance counselor at the school. Set up a meeting where you say, hey, I need you to help walk me through this. Sometimes administrators can do that too, but they're swamped. So that's why I try to recommend the school guidance counselors. Sometimes the teachers can give you advice, but I would say guidance counselor is the best fit person to help you with that. Do not wait till May to do this. Matter of fact, the FAFSA should be filled out, I'd say, before March 1st, I think is usually the deadline. So if you've not filled it out yet, you should fill it out like yesterday, so that you can start figuring out how much you need to bring to the table financially and how much your child can receive federally, if any, to help support them in their career, in their journey as a college student. All right. Okay, the next one, excuse me. Tip number 3, help your child apply for scholarships. If your child needs scholarships, there are so many different ways to do this. There are various websites. There's scholarships.com. There's so many different things. You can get a scholarship for being a certain ethnicity. You can get a scholarship for having a certain tech or a certain color hair, for being left-handed, for having blue eyes, brown eyes. Like there's so many different things that you can get scholarships for just for being who you are. So try to take advantage of that and apply for those for your child. Okay, let's keep going. So scholarships are awesome. A person that can help you at the school with scholarships is the guidance counselor. When I was a senior, I lived in my guidance counselor's office. She was awesome, and she took great care of me. I think I filled out probably maybe 100 scholarships. I only got 18, but um, so basically I filled out about 4 times as many as I wanted, or as I received. So that's kind of a gauging point as well. If your child fills out 2, they might only get 1. Your child fills out 10, they might only get 4 or 5. So depending on how much help they might need financially, then that's how much they should be filling out scholarships. Um, excuse me, to help them in college. So make sure that if your child, needs scholarships, that depending on how many they need, $500 scholarships, $5,000 scholarships, $100 scholarships, $200, whatever, continue to have them fill them out, and just develop a system where you can stay organized. And another thing about scholarships, students will need help with essays and writing. Check your child's essay when they're filling out these scholarships. Some students don't know how to express themselves on paper as well as they could if they had like a mentor or teacher, someone edit, look over it, and revise it. Sometimes students, the scholarship will say, excuse me. So sometimes the scholarship, excuse me, will say, give us a page, or a paragraph as to why we should choose you over another student. And they don't know exactly what to put. So they might put like 2 sentences and say, "Oh, I'm done." So it's great to kind of just go through, vet it out, and see where they are and how you can assist them with that. Okay? So make sure you're helping your student with scholarships. Next, check in with your colleges, or with the colleges that your child is interested in. Your child might have 2 or 3 colleges that they're thinking of. However, it might be very different when they meet the people in person. So, for example, I was a huge Florida State fan before I went on my college tour. I had a great nonprofit organization with the YMCA um, that assisted me in visiting colleges. I think it was the Black Achievers Program. And I was able to go on a college tour along with other students, and we went for free and we toured the colleges in the state. I had a couple of different options. I could have gone to Howard College up north. I know University of Florida wanted me, Florida State wanted me, all of the Florida colleges wanted me, and then of course I could have tapped into Ivy League. However, my needs were different from, the needs of my peers. So for example, I was afraid to go on a plane at the time, so I didn't want to leave the state because I didn't want to have to get on a plane and deal with that. So, excuse me. So I decided to stay in Florida. But then I said I wanted to go to the best school in Florida, in my opinion. So I looked at GPAs, I looked at just what each college represented. And it's so weird, the deal breaker that happened to me. So I had 2 colleges, Florida and Florida State. They both accepted me. However, Florida State messed up my name. And that is why I chose, one of the reasons why I chose University of Florida, because I figured that if you can't get my name right, then you don't need to have me in your college. I'm not down in Florida State. Florida State's a great college. Great friends have gone there. Wonderful school. But for me, that was the deal breaker because everything was written out to somebody that, I was not. And so I was like, well, they almost got me though when they told me that students could attend the games for free. I thought that was awesome. But anyways, I digress. So I tell you that because, excuse me. So you got to make sure that you're checking the colleges that your child is interested in because it can be very different. Now, I'll tell you about my college tours. So I did have the opportunity to tour, University of Florida, Florida State, UCF, which I liked UCF because they had like that big fountain in the front and it was like a huge engineering school. They had like a brand new gym when I visited years ago. And it was attractive campus. USF was neat, but it was just a lot going on. It was neat though. Florida State, it was kind of like just like a circle. It was huge buildings, but it was like circle, and it was very kind of like archaic. Like I liked it. It was very vintagey. Just had like an old historic feel to it. Um, I wasn't knocking that. I liked it because the history was preserved. And then when I went to University of Florida, at the time they used to have a fountain in front. And then you saw like I think it was like a dorm. I don't know if it was like an honors dorm or whatnot, but I remembered that. But the thing I remembered about University of Florida was that it was so big, and you could get lost there. And I liked that feeling. I liked the fact that I knew there would be opportunity to explore and to expand. Um, and that's what I was looking for, and that's what I got. Another thing I loved about UF, and the reason why I kept going back, was because the students, the mindset, it's almost like it's an automatic. Once you get one degree, you're automatically getting another degree. There's not like an option to say, okay, I'm getting out of this and I'm going to do something else in my life. Everyone, for the most part, I'd say about 80% of students at least, the culture at University of Florida is very heavy on obtaining more than one degree. So when I was studying with my peers, my junior year and my senior year, we were also talking about what we were going to get our master's in. We were talking about the next steps because it was like a given. It was an automatic. It wasn't like, oh, I might go back to college. No, it was like, oh, we're going back. What are you going for? What are you going for? Like, it was just already decided. It was a part of our culture as learners. So I commend University of Florida for the stellar job they've done over the years to I guess cultivate a culture of learning and a culture of excellence. So make sure you're checking out the colleges that they're going to, because it can be very different on in person than what it is in paper. I also visited FAMU. I visited some HBCUs as well. I have the utmost respect for all of them. Keep doing phenomenal work. But like I said, for me, it was just University of Florida that did it for me. Now, next thing is that you want to make sure your child has completed the SAT and ACT. I usually recommend to all parents have your child take it once their junior year and at least once their senior year. They might have to take it twice their senior year if they're trying to get a high enough score. Now, I know across the nation, some states are dropping it. Some colleges are dropping the requirement to have an SAT standardized test. So it's not really a big deal. However, I still would not sleep on it because there are other tests like the GMAT and GRE and different things that, and I think it's LSAT, whatever, that students will have to take to enter into master's programs. So it would still be a neat thing for them to do their best so that they can be equipped and be exposed to what the expectations will be for them when they are obtaining higher education and degrees in higher ed. So now, if your student is struggling with the SAT and ACT, there are different books that they can get. They can check them out at their school's library, or other public libraries might have an SAT book, an ACT book that they can look at, and they can do practice problems in reading and math and things like that to equip them for those tests. So I would highly recommend that you look into that for your child. Okay. Step number 6, make sure that you're double checking the deadlines for your student. So your student has particular deadlines to turn in all their work, particular deadlines to submit their college applications, their FAFSA, scholarship applications, graduation stuff. So make sure you're not sleeping on any of that. The last thing you want to do is to be a parent in panic those last few weeks of school because you accidentally dropped the ball and you're at square one when you should be way far ahead. Don't be that parent. If your child also needs a tutor to help them, get them a tutor, even if it's for a short term. Maybe it's only 3 weeks, maybe it's 6 months. I don't know. Whatever your child needs, get them the resources that they need so that they can be successful, especially senior year. Okay, and the next thing is make sure you're following up with guidance counselors and administration for your child. The reason why is because the guidance counselors can give you particular information regarding scholarships, school events, open house, um, different updates that they're getting that can help your child be successful. Administrators can do the same. So please, please, please make sure that you're doing your part in equipping your child for academic success all the way through. Right now, it's April 21st. Um, and if you are a parent of a senior, this is what you should have done already. Your child should already have applied to college or enrolled in military or enrolled for a trade school, something. Something should be on the docket. Something should be set. Okay. Secondly, if your child is pursuing college, they should have already taken the SAT, ACT at least twice. Or they should have taken it once and should be planning to test again in the next week or two. 3, if your child could use extra financial assistance, they should have already applied for scholarships because right now scholarships are being divvied out. People are allocating those scholarships right now. I don't know of any other scholarship windows that are still open because the school year is about to end. So the best time, so I'm going to give you guys some time frames. The best time to apply and to have college applications completely done and submitted are about the first week of September. I know that's early, but that's the truth. The reason why is because colleges start deciding in January. So to make sure you have a good footing in, you should already have their stuff done by September. Okay. Filling out the FAFSA should be done like early February, no later than March 1st. Okay. Scholarships, they should be done by the deadlines, but you should start digging for those around September, October to see what's out there. And then just keep digging till about March when I don't think anybody else is really putting out scholarships around then. Yeah. So I think that's that. And then also making sure you're following up with the colleges. Like I said before, I always tell people the big difference in why you're getting accepted or why you're being rejected, especially from college. A big difference is how you're communicating with those college leaders. Are you intentionally keeping in touch with them? Are you saying, hi, my name is so-and-so. My son or my daughter's name is such and such. We filled out the application around this time and we're calling to follow up to check to see how things are going. Do you need anything? Follow up with the colleges and get feedback. I can't tell you how imperative that is. Also, it's not required, but it's a help. Getting letters of recommendation for your child is everything when they're trying to get in the door in a college. Having letters of recommendation, at least 2 letters of recommendation will help. In addition, your child might need community service if they're trying to go to college. So find a place. YMCAs do community service. Sometimes they can do community service on campus, libraries, other organizations and businesses might need your child to organize some papers, lawyers' offices, and things like that. So make sure that you're utilizing their time also senior year, that instead of them twiddling their thumbs saying, I'm bored, I have nothing to do, I want to play video games, that they're out being productive and doing something with their time. So these are some different things that you definitely want to make sure that you are implementing. And I hope that with all of this information that you'll be able to use it and really set your child up for success. If your child is going into trade school, they should have already had that application process done as well, or a cosmetology school. If your child is enrolled in the military, you should definitely be talking with whatever branch that is, getting all that stuff figured out so that your child can successfully enter into boot camp and serve this country like they desire to. If your child is trying to start a business, then you need to pull up sunbiz.org or whatever and start getting everything filled out as far as what they need, the name of their business, how much they need to open up a storefront, whatever it is that they need to do so that they can be successful as business owners. Maybe your child needs to, instead of going right into business, maybe they need to do an internship where they shadow a business owner, or they work for a particular corporate organization, whatever, and they learn from there so that they can then be successful as adults. Now, you will have many kids that will be tempted to take that first year off from college. They'll say, "Mom, Dad, I don't feel like working, or I don't feel like going to school right now. I'm burned out. It's my senior year. I'm burned out." And of course, we are concerned about the emotional well-being, social well-being of our children, right? So we're going to hear them out. However, if your child is able, and you can convince them to continue going to school, I highly recommend that you do that. Maybe there has to be an incentive. Maybe you have to say, "You know what, hon, I know you're tired. I know you don't feel like it, but I want you to give me this year. And if it doesn't work out, then we'll figure out something next year." But whatever you do, don't allow your child to just sit and do nothing and then lay dormant, because then it becomes a habit, and then that child might settle for doing something else in life, and then they can't get out of a rut because they're living and they're making paycheck to paycheck and they're doing, and I'm not knocking any of that. I'm just saying, if you're having higher, if you esteem a higher lifestyle and a I guess a lifestyle that could be more beneficial for them overall financially and things like that, then I would highly recommend that you continue to have your child move forward. Whether it's military, academics, or if you have a solid, structural, stable business plan that you can throw them into, and they can make pretty good salary, and then you can, work with them. Okay, but whatever you do, don't allow your child to say, I'm going to take off for a year, because I've heard that. And then I revisit some of those students that following year, and they're stuck. They're stuck. And then and the thing is this, if you wait too long after high school, it can be tough to go back to college. However, I'm so thankful for the community colleges that can allow students to go back after a certain amount of years. However, you don't want to wait too long, because it just becomes harder to get enrolled, and it just really can mess stuff up, and so you don't want to miss that window of opportunity to get your child enrolled and successfully enrolled in college or military, right? Military cutoff is in the 30s, I believe, but even still, you don't want to wait, because like you're more fit, when you're younger, and then when you're 30 something, and then you're trying to get in shape and compete with these 18-year-olds, it could be a little bit tougher. So that's some advice that I have for you. Excuse me. Thanks for letting me share. And I don't know, if you need any assistance with that, feel free to reach out to me via email. My email is india.white.123@gmail.com, and just reference this show. And like I said, if I can help you, I definitely will. I love to help students with, whether it's a letter of recommendation or providing families with wisdom on, just deadlines and things like that. But I just felt like, because of everything that's been going on, it's like we've gotten our focus almost off of why we do what we do every day, which is for the betterment of our kids. It's for building our community, building our society, and helping our students, no matter what. And so I kind of wanted to put that focus back on the students and how we can help students to be prepared for life and to be prepared overall. So I hope that you can use this information. And I hope that you're able to assist your child and also your neighbor's children. If there's, the last thing you want is to know that your child is good and your neighbor's child is struggling, and you have the power and the means to help them. So yeah, so with that said, please make sure that you're doing your part. You are doing your part in making sure that students are successful their senior years and first few years after transitioning. Another thing too, I forgot to mention, is When a student is that last year of high school, they might have to stay with you. There might not be enough financial helps for them to stand on their own 2 feet. But just because they stay with you does not mean that you cannot help them plan and help them to become stable on their own. Um, I mean, I've been independent since 16, not by choice, but I had to learn, and I had a phenomenal group of people that came alongside me and taught me um, different things. And so, you might have to help your child with the budget. They might not know how to write a check. They might not know how to do anything um, financially. So they might be financially illiterate. So they might need you to come alongside them and teach them some things, as far as how to apply for apartment, a down payment for an apartment, different things that they have no idea about, how to cook. I mean, there's so many different things that students don't know. It's not their fault. They're busy playing their sports and do what they need to do. But I'm just saying that when they're transitioning, they're going to need to be taught how to stand on their own 2 feet as an adult. And with that said, parents, you will need to have some type of patience with them as they're transitioning. So you might have to teach them a couple things about cooking, or teach them a couple things about how to pay their bills and not to splurge their scholarship money, but to save that money, budget it out, and do things like that. So with that said, I pray that this show is going to help you, to help your child be successful after high school, because I have a personal desire to see the graduation rates increase across our nation, and to see that students' needs are being met across the board for all learners across the nation. So, with that said, thanks so much for letting me share. Again, welcome to the Real Talk Show with Dr. India White. Um, a couple more things. The Real Talk Show, it will be aired on SoulNet WKDH radio station every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So visit www.soulnetwkdh.com to tune in. If you would like to be on the show, please email me at india.white.123@gmail.com. I love a Facebook following or social media following. So you can follow me on Facebook. It's Miss India White, MSINDIAWHITE. LinkedIn is The India White, THEINDIAWHITE, India White. Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach. That's INDISPEAK, the letter N and the word teach all together. Twitter is, I already said that, forgive me. Instagram is Indie238. That's INDI238. YouTube is India White 123. I also have a Twitter for Big Ideas Learning. I'm a national consultant and co-author with them. That's IWhiteBIL. If you want just strictly educational stuff, then you can reach me there. Also, the Real Talk Show will be featured on Swain Girl Media channel, hosted by Precious Swain. That is going to be on Fire Stick, and also you can tune in on, I think it's like Apple podcasts, that you can also tune in on the show as well. Make sure you check out my website for various services, blogs, books, courses, and whatever else I can help you with. And then, of course, just another simple reminder, which I'm super excited about. We've got a new book launch coming on May 3rd called Equal and Dignity. So please make sure that you tune in to social media to see that book launch. Okay, because we're super excited. And I think this book will be able to help everyone when it comes down to defining dignity and recognizing your worth and having value and dignity. And again, thank you, Rael, for that phenomenal opportunity. And then, of course, I will see some of you guys next month in Cali. So I will keep you guys posted on that as I present on equity in math in classrooms. So with that said, guys, it's been a wonderful show. Please get your students ready for college. or for trade or for whatever they need. Share this podcast with the parent so that we can make the impacts that we need to make for all learners. So have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for joining me on the Real Talk Show. I will see you guys next time. And I appreciate your patience, and I appreciate always just being there. I appreciate all the love, all the fans, all the support, all of those that have just, cheered me on in this and told me to continue going, and that have joined me and similar causes that we all care about. Because I tell you that as we continue to move forward, the greatest impact we'll have is by picking up our microphone and saying something when we know that something needs to be said to make things right. So, with that said, continue to stand up for what's right, continue to advocate for those that need it the most. Okay. So, I'm going to let you guys go for now. Thank you so much for joining the Real Talk Show with Dr. India White. Until next time, bye.